Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us.
Always fun.
Yeah, today we're going deep on Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, it's been a bestseller for almost a century.
Yeah,
I mean, you've probably seen it around, but
definitely.
we're really gonna extract the timeless wisdom
Right.
that still applies in today's world.
It's ideas even if you haven't read
What's-
it.
it's-
It's kind of permeated.
Yeah, what's exciting is that these principles are rooted in such a deep understanding of human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Carnegie starts off with this powerful premise
Okay.
that everyone, even notorious criminals, see themselves as fundamentally good.
Interesting.
He uses these examples like Al Capone
Oh, well.
and Dutch Schultz, who were infamous figures,
Right.
but they still had that need to justify their actions.
Sure, it's not about condoning anything they did.
Of course not.
But just understanding that even people who do terrible things
Yeah.
have this need to feel important and righteous.
Right.
And that need drives so much of human interaction.
It's so true.
And Carnegie just taps into that in a really insightful way.
Yeah, if we can grasp that everyone is driven by this need for importance,
Absolutely.
it changes how we approach communication entirely.
It's like a secret code
It is like a secret code.
to unlock better interactions.
And that's where appreciation comes in.
Yeah, appreciation is huge.
Yeah.
You research like all these successful people, from inventors like Edison
Oh, yeah.
to like political leaders like FDR.
Yeah.
And he found that this common thread
Yeah.
among all of them was the ability to make others feel genuinely valued.
And he tells this fascinating story about Charles Schwab, who
Oh.
was earning $1 million a year back when that was an unimaginable sum.
Wow.
And Schwab said that his success wasn't due to his technical knowledge, but his ability to inspire those around him.
That's amazing.
It makes you realize that appreciation isn't just a nice gesture.
No.
It's a key ingredient for success.
Yeah. And he differentiates between genuine appreciation and empty flattery.
Right.
It's not about manipulating.
No.
It's about tapping into someone's strengths
Yeah.
and acknowledging their contributions
Yes.
in a way that feels real.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But, like, how do we put this into practice?
Right.
Well, then, like, thankfully, Carnegie doesn't just talk theory.
He is not.
He gives us actionable advice.
Yeah. One of the simplest but most effective things you can do is remember people's names.
Oh, totally.
It seems so basic, but it's a powerful way to show that you're paying attention, that you value them.
It's true. And I've heard stories of salespeople who saved entire accounts.
Wow.
Just by remembering a client's name or a detail about their family. You're
Mhm.
not just going through the motions, you're genuinely invested.
It shows you see them as a person
Yes,
and not a transaction.
exactly. And Carnegie also talks about the importance of a genuine smile
Right.
and truly listening to what others have to say.
It's about shifting the focus from ourselves to the other person.
Yeah, he tells this great anecdote about Ralph Waldo Emerson
Right.
trying to force a calf into a barn, and it just wouldn't budge.
Okay.
And he and his son pushed and pulled,
Mhm.
and the calf was having none of it.
Oh.
Finally, the housemaid came along, and instead of forcing the calf, figured out what the calf wanted.
Oh.
And she was able to just kind of coax it in.
Wow.
It's such a simple story, but it illustrates this profound point.
What's that?
Sometimes we get so caught up in our own goals and perspective
Yeah.
that we fail to consider the other person's needs and motivations.
Right. It's like we need to step back and see things from their point of view.
Totally. And Carnegie provides strategies for even the toughest situations, like when you're in the wrong.
Okay, admitting you're wrong is so hard.
It's not easy, but Carnegie has a surprising tip. Admit it quickly and emphatically.
It seems counterintuitive,
It does.
but how many arguments escalate?
So many.
Because everyone's trying to protect their ego.
It's true.
When you take responsibility, you can actually build trust.
He also suggests avoiding direct criticism
Duh.
and instead focusing on your own mistakes.
Mm.
He shares an anecdote where he criticizes the price of drapes that his friend chose.
Uh-oh.
And it immediately put her on the defensive.
Right.
But it was only when he acknowledged his own tendency to overspend that the conversation became more productive.
So it shifted the focus from blame to self-awareness.
Exactly. And it's not just about smoothing over disagreements. Carnegie believes in inspiring others to reach their full potential.
I love that.
He talks about giving honest appreciation,
Okay.
this side of insanity.
Oh, wow. What a phrase.
What do you think he means by that?
I think he's saying that we have this power to transform people by recognizing their strengths
Yeah.
and encouraging their growth,
Yeah.
like even when they might not believe in themselves.
And he has a fantastic example of this in action.
Oh, yeah.
With the story of Stevie Wonder.
I love Stevie Wonder,
When he
though.
was just a boy named Stevie Morris, a teacher noticed his incredible hearing and asked him to find a lost mouse in the classroom.
Ah,
He later said that this simple act of appreciation was the beginning of a new life for him.
wow.
Think about that a single moment of genuine appreciation helped shape the trajectory of a musical legend.
Incredible.
It's a powerful reminder that our words and actions can have a profound impact on others in ways we may never fully realize.
And the best part is that Carnegie's principles work even if the other person hasn't read the book.
Exactly.
Like they transcend any specific knowledge.
Yeah, it's about tapping into that shared human experience, that desire for connection, for importance, for appreciation.
It's about creating a more empathetic and understanding world, one interaction at a time.
It makes you wonder, what would the world be like if we all took these principles to heart?
I know, I'd love to find out.
Me too.
You know, it's fascinating how Carnegie connects this need for appreciation to another powerful principle,
Okay.
becoming genuinely interested in others.
Right.
It's more than just surface-level politeness. It's about truly engaging with people and understanding their perspectives.
You know, it's easy to say, be interested.
Yeah,
But Carnegie takes it a step further.
he does.
He emphasizes showing that interest in a way that resonates with the individual.
Oh, okay.
He even interviewed Lewis Laws,
Oh,
who was the warden of Sing Sing prison.
wow.
And Law said that most criminals don't consider themselves bad people.
Huh.
They have their own rationalizations and explanations.
Everyone has a story, right?
Yeah, and by taking a genuine interest in that story, we can connect on a much deeper level.
It's powerful.
Carnegie himself used this principle to his advantage when he wanted to invite famous authors to speak at his writing class.
Oh, cool.
He knew that they were busy, so he appealed to their desire to share their knowledge and experience by writing to them, expressing his admiration for their work, and asking for advice.
That's great.
And it worked.
Really?
He managed to get big names like Kathleen Norris Fanny Hurst and even the notoriously private Albert Payson Terhune to speak to his class.
That's amazing.
It's amazing how a genuine expression of interest can open doors and create opportunities.
It reminds me of that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh, that's so true.
And Carnegie doesn't just tell us to be interested. He offers specific ways to demonstrate it.
Okay.
Remembering details about someone's life,
Yeah.
asking thoughtful questions, truly listening to their responses.
Yeah.
These are all ways to show you value them.
It's about making them feel seen and heard,
Yeah.
which can be so powerful.
He even tells this story about this guy, Ken Nottingham,
Okay.
who noticed the woman working the lunch counter at his company cafeteria always seemed unhappy.
Oh,
And so one day, he decided to try something different.
okay.
Instead of just placing his order, he asked her about her day and treated her like a person. It was a small gesture, but she smiled. They had a nice conversation, and she even gave him extra potato chips with his sandwich.
That's so sweet. I love that.
It's like we underestimate the impact of small gestures.
Totally.
A genuine smile. A few kind words can make a bigger difference than we realize.
Speaking of smiles,
Yes.
Carnegie is a big proponent of the power of a genuine smile.
You know, it's easy to dismiss smiling as superficial,
Sure.
but there's actually a lot of research that supports its impact.
Okay.
Studies have shown that smiling can improve our mood, reduce stress, and even boost our immune system.
Wait, smiling can actually make us healthier?
It might sound strange, but it's true.
Wow.
And not only that, smiling is contagious.
Okay.
When we smile at someone, it triggers a subconscious response in their brain
Oh.
that makes them more likely to smile back.
It creates a positive feedback loop.
Exactly.
So even if you don't feel like smiling,
Yeah.
faking it until you make it can actually have real benefits.
Carnegie suggests like forcing ourselves to smile, whistle, or hum a tune
Yeah.
to kind of shift our internal state.
I like that.
It's like tricking our brains into feeling happier.
He also talks about Theodore Roosevelt,
Oh, yeah.
who was so famous for his charisma and boundless energy.
He was.
Apparently, he had this habit of greeting everyone he encountered,
Wow.
from dignitaries to gardeners, with genuine enthusiasm.
Really?
He remembered their names, asked about their families, and made them feel seen and valued.
It's about treating everyone with respect and kindness.
Yeah, regardless of their social standing or job title.
Absolutely.
But what about when it comes to truly listening to others?
That's a hard one.
It's easy to get distracted or to just wait for our turn to talk.
For sure.
But Carnegie really stresses the importance of active listening.
Like truly understanding their perspective and engaging with their words.
Yeah.
He tells a story about a salesman who spent years trying to land this big client with no success.
Oh, no.
It was only when he finally took the time to understand what the client was truly interested in that he was able to connect and close the deal.
Sometimes we can't just bulldoze our way through conversation,
Right.
trying to push our own agenda.
We have to create space for the other person to feel heard.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means letting the other person do most of the talking.
Okay.
He even shares this funny anecdote about this guy who lost his voice
Oh, no.
right before an important meeting,
Oh.
and because he couldn't speak, he was forced to listen intently to his client,
Okay.
asking questions, showing genuine interest, and you know what?
What?
He ended up landing the biggest order of his career.
Oh, wow.
It just shows that sometimes our weaknesses can become our greatest strengths.
That's a good point.
But what about when we don't agree with someone?
Okay.
Carnegie has some interesting insights on how to navigate disagreements effectively.
I'm all ears.
Disagreements are inevitable,
They are.
but they don't have to turn into full-blown conflicts.
So true.
Carnegie suggests starting by finding points of agreement,
Mm-hmm.
even in the most heated debates. By highlighting shared values and common ground, we can create a more collaborative atmosphere.
He even quotes Woodrow Wilson,
Oh, cool.
who said, "If you come to me and say, 'Let us sit down and take counsel together, and if we differ from each other, understand why it is that we differ, just what the points at issue are, we will presently find that we are not so far apart after all.'"
I love that.
It's about approaching disagreements with a spirit of curiosity
Yeah.
and a willingness to understand the other person's perspective.
He tells this story about a time when a photographer accused his company of wasting time and resources. And instead of getting defensive, Carnegie's colleague calmly explained the situation, emphasizing that it was a unique circumstance, and the photographer put away his camera and thanked the man for his explanation.
It's a great example of how empathy and clear communication
Yeah.
can de-escalate a potentially tense situation.
Sometimes people just want to feel heard and understood.
But what about those chronic complainers
Ugh.
who seem to find a problem with everything?
I know that
Does Carnegie have any advice for dealing with them?
he does, and it might surprise you let them talk.
Wait, seriously,
Yeah.
just give them a platform to air their grievances.
It's not about encouraging their negativity,
Right.
but about giving them a space to feel heard and acknowledged.
Okay.
He argues that most people just want to feel like their concerns are taken seriously.
Okay.
He tells a story about a banker who was initially frustrated by this prospective client who refused to answer certain questions on an application. So instead of getting into a power struggle, the banker simply asked the client why he was hesitant.
So he approached the situation with curiosity instead of judgment.
Exactly. And the client, feeling understood, opened up and explained his reasons.
Oh, wow.
And the banker was then able to address his concerns and ultimately secure the client's business.
It's another example of how shifting our approach from confrontation to understanding can lead to a more positive outcome.
Absolutely. But what about those situations where someone seems determined to argue even when you've tried all of Carnegie's techniques?
That's a good question. Is there ever a time when these principles just don't apply?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Some people just seem to thrive on conflict,
They do.
and it can be hard to know how to respond. But even then, Carnegie offers some wisdom.
Okay.
He actually draws inspiration from Socrates,
Oh, wow.
who was known for his ability to persuade through skillful questioning.
Like the Socratic method?
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
Socrates never directly told people they were wrong.
Right.
Instead, he asked a series of questions that led them to reconsider their own beliefs
Interesting.
and arrive at a new understanding.
So it's kind of like guiding them down a path of logical reasoning
It is.
until they reach the desired destination.
Yeah.
Even if they initially resisted going there.
Exactly. And Carnegie suggests we adapt this technique to our own interactions. Instead of engaging in these heated debates, we can try asking questions that encourage critical thinking
Right.
and open up new perspectives.
It's a subtle but powerful way to influence without being confrontational. It takes patience and a willingness to understand where the other person is coming from.
And that leads us to one of Carnegie's most important points,
Okay.
the need to be adaptable.
Oh,
He recognizes that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to human interaction.
Right.
Like, we need to be sensitive to the unique needs and personalities of the people we're dealing with and adjust accordingly.
So it's not about rigidly following a set of rules,
Right.
but about developing this deep understanding of human nature
Yeah.
and applying that knowledge in a flexible and compassionate way.
It's like being a student of human behavior,
Right.
constantly observing, learning, and adapting our approach to each unique situation.
You know, as we've been talking about all these principles,
Yes.
I've been thinking about that one relationship I want to improve.
The one we talked about.
Yeah, the one we talked about earlier.
Right.
And I'm starting to see how it could apply these ideas to make a real difference.
I'm curious which principle resonated most with you.
I think the idea of becoming genuinely interested in others really struck a chord with me.
Oh, wow.
I realize I can sometimes get caught up in my own thoughts and agenda,
Yeah.
and I haven't always been the best listener.
Mm.
I'm going to make a conscious effort to be more present and engaged in my conversations.
That's a great goal.
I think so too.
Remember, even small changes in our approach can have a significant impact on our relationships.
And it's inspiring to think that Carnegie wrote this book nearly a century ago,
I know.
yet his insights are just as relevant today.
It speaks to the enduring power of human connection.
Yeah.
Like we all crave understanding, appreciation, and a sense of belonging.
And how to win friends and influence people gives us a roadmap for cultivating those connections in such a meaningful and authentic way.
It's a reminder that even in a world that's increasingly digital and fast-paced, the fundamentals of human interaction remain the same.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this incredible book. There's so much wisdom to be found in its pages.
I agree. It's a book that deserves to be revisited and pondered.
Yeah.
And I really encourage our listeners to pick up a copy and delve into its insights.
I second that. And as you go about your day,
Yes.
remember the power of a genuine smile,
Hmm.
the importance of listening with your full attention,
For sure.
and the magic that happens when you make someone feel truly seen and valued.
Those are words to live by.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Dale Carnegie's timeless wisdom.
Oh, of course.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting.